Hello and good evening, everyone. It's another opportunity for us to have one-on-one with Titi Oyinsan. That's me. Now, I've always appreciated the opportunity to have interesting conversations with interesting individuals, and we have one of such people here with us today. We are going to be speaking with Fred Razak. Now, he's Chief Trading Strategist at CM Trading, and he and his team put out a really interesting article about the financial powerhouse that is the FIFA Football World Cup. Now, the tournament's going to kick off again on November 20th. That's in about 19 days. And once again, it's expected to be one of the most watched sporting events in the world. We would love to understand the motivations around Qatar hosting the World Cup and the financial implications. And who better to talk to us about that than Fred Razak? I did mention his name earlier on. That's because he is a New York native. He trading on Wall Street, and while he took an internship at a prestigious stockbroking firm in Long Island when he was younger, he was attracted to the hustle and bustle of Wall Street execs. Now, that battle of creating wealth is something I'm really interested in. And yeah, prior to entering Wall Street, he studied at Baruch College. It's a university, Baruch College, City University in New York, majoring in finance. We're going to be having a conversation at this point to find out exactly what the World Cup means for the financial world. Hello and welcome, Fred.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's great to have you with us. It was a really interesting article that your team put out not too long ago, and there are a lot of zeros involved in the World Cup in Qatar this year. Let's hear from you what you think about the investment in tournaments such as this.
Okay, so Qatar is really in a very interesting spot right now, both economically and demographically. As things are being shifted in the world from gasoline-powered cars, we know that things are moving towards electric cars. We also know that Qatar provides a good percentage of the world's oil, if not as a hub, as definitely a supplier. And they're thinking 10, 15 years down the line. And they're looking to attract investors in different areas: real estate, tourism, biochemicals, all that kind of stuff that's not normally their mainstay income provider. So I think this is really a very tactical, strategic, long-term and tactical in the short-term position that they're taking in order to garner having more people from around the world. I mean, if you think about it, next to the Olympics, this is probably the most important sports event in the entire world. And so this encapsulates, many different countries, namely South America, Europe, Africa, Asia. So it really, participates everybody in the globe. So if you wanted to promote your country for a investment, this is really the best place to do it. And I would add to that, at any given year, how many people visit Qatar? 2 million people? Now, the most visited place on the earth is Paris. There are 30 million people that visit Paris per year. Now, if I could bring in new people into my country who have not been there before, imagine how powerful that is. I could make it's just an easy sell.
That's from a tourism angle, right? Um, Now, tourism and sport have gone hand in hand since the Olympics and the World Cup and other tournaments like Wimbledon and the U.S. Open and the Australian Open. So many different tournaments like that bring visitors to different countries. but it still does touch on tourism in terms of commerce and how it impacts the people that live in these countries, such as Qatar and their local businesses. How do you think it's going to impact them?
Well, local businesses, that's just a simple, this is a run by fly kind of situation, right? They're going to be there for a month, maybe 2 months, of stay, from different countries as, countries are eliminated from the tournament. But, this is really a big but. You need a neutral country for businesses to actually happen. There's this something called the triangular effect, which is basically two countries, when they're doing business, they need to have a neutral country where to do business with. So if it's Japan doing business with Italy, they need a neutral country so they can meet each other halfway, so to speak. And what other better country there is than to promote it at Qatar, right? If you say to yourself, I'm coming from Asia and you're coming from Italy, let's meet. Let's go meet at FIFA. So, and then that opens the door for people locally in Qatar to jump in there and have some sort of influence in terms of their exposure to that market. There'll be trade shows, there'll be other venues that they'll be able to access. So it's not just, the run-of-the-mill mom and pop store down the block.
So I'm thinking also about the numbers now in terms of trading and traders right now who are looking to take advantage of this sporting event. What sort of companies do you believe are going to have the best windfall from?
Obviously the biggest.
This is.
So obviously the biggest, advertisers, their placement is just, it's gold real estate, really. That's the first line of people that are there. Now there are companies behind that, the media companies, the internet companies that are promoting the event online, the streaming companies that are going to be streaming this event online. So there's many venues of places to make money out of such an event. And the ripple effect is just huge. I mean, it's the most, I believe it's the most or second most watched event globally in the world. Now, it's not just one time, right? It's every country fighting another country, so to speak, for the tournament. So, there's so much exposure there that I think if you wanted to become a global brand, and especially if you're looking to make head segue into new locations like Amazon coming into South Africa, et cetera, et cetera, this is really the venue to do it.
It does feel like off on the surface, it does feel like Qatar would be getting the biggest chunk of the benefits from an event like this. But there are a lot of international companies that are taking advantage of it and trying to use it to possibly target different generations. Now, I'm thinking about the people you train, because I knew you are a trainer. Oh, goodness me. I think we lost him for a second there. Are we back on?
I'm back on.
Okay, you're back with us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so I'm thinking about the fact that you're a trainer. You train people in trading. Well, you have done that for quite a while. And the truth is, it does seem like something you. Okay. Wow, what's up with the bandwidth today?
Oh, I don't know.
It does seem like.
I'm here.
All right then. So it does seem like an amateur move to just jump onto some of the companies that are the most visual, have the most visibility, especially when it comes to trading. So I'm thinking about the fact that the average trader, someone who wants to take advantage of an event like this, might not know which direction to take. What are those things that we should look out for in the markets as soon as the tournament begins?
So I don't know that the markets are specifically correlated to the World Cup. Not that I know of. It could be that there is, but not that I know of right now. I mean, there's enough things going on in the markets right now that are fueling ridiculous amount of volatility that you don't need an event like this in order to make crazy kind of money in a very short period of time. I've never seen it this volatile and this aggressive in such a short period of time. I think I've never seen it like this volatile, really. Like, and it's across the board. It's forex symbols, it's indices, it's stocks, it's commodities,
Commodities.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything has been just like haywire. The only thing that has been really quiet is Bitcoin, which is, the crypto revolution has just kind of like, popped its bubble, so to speak. So markets are actually responding to what's happening geopolitically around the world and economically. I mean, we're in a very scary inflationary environment across the globe. We're also in a recession, whether or not we'd like to admit it or not. And the Fed is trying to keep interest rates somewhat normal, but they can't because they're controlling inflation. So we've got enough stuff going on, besides the World Cup, so
especially but not limited to what's happening in Russia. So it is, in a sense, ironic that Russia was the last host of the World Cup, and because of the war between the Ukraine and, of course, Russia, it does seem like one of the major factors affecting the market, pushing this volatility to be so unpredictable. And
absolutely.
I'm thinking about the fact that there's another World Cup around the corner, like literally this month. Do you think this is going to have any impact on stabilizing the economic outlook? What do you think?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, this has nothing to do with it. I mean, Russia going into Ukraine has been something in the pipeline for, no pun intended, has been in the pipeline. That's the biggest issue. One of the biggest issues. They don't want NATO on their doorstep, and number two, they wanted to make sure that they're supplying their share of natural gas to Europe. So this has been an issue that has really added a tremendous amount of stress on the markets.
So stress on the markets is one thing, but also when it comes to events such as the World Cup, you think about the fact that in terms of decision making, what sort of decisions do you think the government of Qatar has made to make sure that they, despite how volatile the markets are actually right now, are able to balance out? Because it is a hefty task. The estimated cost, as you put in here in your article, is climbing from about 14.2 billion from between when Russia did it in 2018 to 220 billion in Qatar this year. Do you think this investment was a sound idea? And what do you think they're doing to balance out? Are you
So I
with me?
think that money is cheap for Qatar. Yeah, I'm here. So I think the money right
Okay.
now is cheap for Qatar. I mean, that they're printing bills right now so much they don't, they have trillions and trillions of dollars. There's the money that we know about, and also the money that we don't know about. So I
Okay.
think that this is, yes, is this a lot of money even for a country like Qatar? Absolutely. But it's a drop in the bucket compared to what they're thinking will be the next 10 to 15 years. And they're not the only one. I mean, we know Dubai and the Emirates is doing some things locally in order to attract foreign investors. So Qatar is just jumping on the bandwagon. They're not doing anything different.
Okay. So I wanted to touch a little bit on what you do at CM Trading as a chief trading strategist. Can you let us in on a little more as to what you do?
So the company is a broker for trading CFDs, which includes forex symbols, indices, stocks, commodities, and cryptocurrencies. We allow people to enter the market where otherwise they didn't have access to this market. And as such, this is something that we've allowed companies to participate in, or allow people to participate in trading the financial markets.
So how different is this from any of the other more, should I say, more popular brokers around the world? And where is this particular broker based?
We're based out of South Africa. We have locations around the world. We're a local international broker, and that's our differentiation, where we provide clients with the ability to have access to people who guide them through their trading process.
Mm. I really appreciate the fact that you're able to share all this with us today. But I wanted to ask why you felt directed to put out the article on the World Cup.
Well, we felt that it was an important element. We felt that it was something that people would gain from understanding the context of the World Cup, and it's an international event, so we thought it was a great idea.
There's a countdown already to Qatar. It's a 19 days, exactly 19 days to this global showpiece. Are you going to be going to Qatar?
I don't know yet. We'll
You
see.
don't know
That's
yet?
still open.
Any particular teams you're rooting for? Are you with me? Hello, are you with me?
Yes.
Any
Well, we'll
team?
have to
Are
see.
you okay?
I haven't, I enjoy watching it from my living room as opposed to actually being there myself, but it's
Okay.
my preference.
All right. Have you been for any of the other tournaments
I have not,
in the
not
past?
yet, not yet.
All right. Well, I'm looking at some of the amazing stadiums that have been put up for the World Cup. Let me see if I can share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm seeing. These stadiums are simply epic. Let's see if I can share this with you. I'm looking at the amazing stadia and thinking, know, it might just be to pop by and see. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, so there are quite a few matches already. Okay, this is a video. I won't be able to show that video. Let's see. Let's show this. Okay. Amazing stuff. It does look really interesting, doesn't it? Pulling sound there. Look at that. Can you see that?
Wow.
Yeah. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. So, Fred, what do you think? Should we make it? Should we make it a trip? Should we? Should we find our way to Qatar?
I don't know. I'm still, my drug of choice is hockey. My sport of choice is hockey, ice hockey. I have yet to, warm up. I grew up in England partially, so I have a little bit of a soft spot for football. But,
Okay.
having, been a hockey player most of my life, I enjoy the games. I enjoy the highlights of the games. But, it does look like an amazing event, even if you're not a sports fan of football. But I think that, that just the masses of the people and the masses of the stadium, you would just be lighted up.
Yeah. Even with the whole economic, I don't want to use the word downturn because I don't like talking down on on the markets. But even with everything that's happening, it feels like a lot of people are going to be showing up in Qatar this year. And it
Oh,
does feel
absolutely.
like tourism is going to do quite a bit to up their game in Qatar. Why do I say this? There was a little incident a few months ago. Well, not just one, quite a few incidents where Nigerians were asked to leave Dubai. Now they were basically forcibly removed for whatever reason, and it's given everybody a little insight into looking for new places to go. So maybe Qatar might just be the next place for Africans to visit. Fred, am I right?
Well, it could be. I mean, this is what I'm saying. All these countries are going to start, you know, putting down some of their borders and some of their protectors in order to allow new people to come to it and be open to new people because they need it. They need those foreign investments, and Nigeria's on the upswing. So, there's a lot of common ground, and you need to build from there.
I think it's a really great decision they've made. Myself, and I can see just from a few videos and clips that I've seen, it feels like it's going to be an amazing event, and the Qataris and investors overseas are going to have a great time. I'm still looking into future business opportunities, and hopefully you'll be able to give us some insight into things we can do. Any tips? Just give us one or two.
Well, as you're going into a downturn, you were talking about you don't want to talk about a downturn. Downturns
Yeah.
are probably the biggest opportunities of a lifetime. And that's what people, I think, seem to overlook, is that they get caught up in the moment and don't think 5 to 10 years ahead when you do find yourself on turn. So, people get so fixated in the moment that they think, when things are good, things are always good. When things are bad, things are always bad. It's not true. Things change. And there will be companies that are going to bigger. So that's a positive light onto it.
All right then. I have to say thank you to you, Fred Razak, Chief Trading Strategist at CM Trading, here for joining us on One on One today. It's really interesting, that article. I'm going to be maybe reposting it myself on LinkedIn. Please keep in touch. As soon as we have any questions about trading and the markets, we're going to be reaching out to you again.
Thank you.
All right, then, Fred. Thank you so much. All right, then. It's been one on one with me, and the conversation continues online. You can, of course, send in your comments and contributions. Use the hashtag one on one with Titi Oyinsan. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Just check it out and click that bell, click the subscribe button so that you can get updated on when we have our next interesting conversations. Now, if you are just tuning in, we had with us Fred Razak, someone who has been in the wealth creation game for quite a bit. And he started when he witnessed the boom of the late 90s and early 2000s. He witnessed the largest expansion to the world economy as the internet age made its debut, and he was already in the markets. Imagine that. Now, he is also doing his part as a trading educator, and he's also done quite well for himself. We talked a little bit about the World Cup this afternoon and how exactly it's going to be impacting the markets just a little. And just seeing a few clips and videos there actually is encouraging me to think about how I can get to Qatar. Feels like a great place for a holiday. If we can still get some tickets. All right, then. So we're going to be wrapping it up at this point, but I can't wait to be with you once again. And hopefully, this particular conversation was an interesting one for you. Until next time, have a great day and thanks for watching.